Hi, I'm Ray Cumby. I'm your guide for the Carpe Diem Common Fitting Adjustments, a series of videos where we're looking at a variety of different adjustments you can do to your Carpe Diem dress or tunic so you have a nuanced and better fit that fits your particular body in the way that you want it to fit your body. And right now we're going to look at tapering in the sleeve, giving yourself a little bit more room in the waist. I said sleeve, but I meant waist. We're going to look here at the waist, and we're going to take it in a little bit for a little bit more nuanced look. I personally like a fairly loose and easy look, and so this is not necessarily an adjustment I would do, but I could do it if I wanted to. But we're going to look here at the waist, and you can see that this is very shift-like in the way that it is sized on her right now. And we are going to take a couple pins and just pin out here a little bit in the waist to see if we like how that looks better on this particular dress. Now when we do this, we also want to pay attention, and we'll step back after we pin our half-inch adjustment here in the waist. We'll take a step back and decide what we think about how it looks in relation to the balance lines, the horizontal balance lines, and the grain lines on the actual garment. So I've pinned out here a little bit in the waist, and you can see it's much more form-fitted now. If those were inside, you would have a little bit of a curve coming in here. It's easy to see when you have a different color on your side panel than you do on the rest of your body. But we're also going to tilt this here and look and make sure that we haven't thrown out the balance lines in the front. And I would say that that balance line there in the front looks pretty straight. And we're going to look at the balance line in the back, and it also looks pretty straight. So we clearly have not done anything that's damaging the balance of the garment as we use it. Now we've pinned out some other adjustments here, which you can see in the bust adjustment videos. And so that makes it all look a little rumpled when you have all these pins in here. But you can sew this in and test it and make sure you like the way it looks. And then you can change the pattern. And we're going to look at how to make those pattern changes on this video. I've done it evenly between the front and the back. That worked fine. That kept this line straight. If for some reason you could only take it in the front, or you would have to take it in a different place in the back, you would just need to pin that out, test it, and then you would do the pattern work a little bit different, because you would put it exactly where you needed it on the pattern as you have sewn it on the mock-up. The mock-up is your friend as you are nuancing your pattern, and let's take a look at how to do that pattern work right now. To shape up the waist, as we have pinned on the mock-up on the mannequin, and we're going to take a ½ inch out at the waist all the way around, and we are coming down, we're coming up. You can measure either up or down from the balance lines, but we're going to measure up from the bottom balance line, and we know that that waist that we marked was about, was actually precisely 4 inches up from the balance line, and we're going to come in 1/2 inch at that spot. So we're going to measure, and we did it on both the front and the back, so we have to measure and mark it here. And I'll go back through and make sure those dots that I made are 1/2 inch. If you put your ruler like this, you can do it all efficiently at the same time. Sometimes I don't do things as efficiently as I should, but I still get them done. All right. So we have marked the 1/2 inch adjustment at the waist, and we know that by the time we are at this balance line, we want to be resolved back out to the original line. And by the time we get up to the dart area, we also want to be resolved back to the original to the line. And we have these dots here, they're on your pattern, and they show you where the 3 pattern pieces come together, as do the balance lines. So we're going to take our curved ruler, and we cannot possibly find the right line on the ruler for both directions. So we're going to start with one direction going down, which is the easiest one for me to draw right now. I'm going to use this green, dark green, to draw that line in. Okay. And then we're going to come up from there and ease ourselves back into the basic seam line here. Let's see if this other side works better. As you have seen in this demonstration, we're constantly sort of shifting the rulers around to find the right side, the right place to ease everything in. And so we're going to make that curve right there, and let's make this curve just a little smoother. A beautiful line is sometimes more important than precise adjustment. Okay, so we have a pretty line here that indicates the waist on the back. This is the back pattern piece. And now we're going to make a similar line. It can't be exactly the same because this side panel does flare out. This is the flared side for someone who is a little hippier. And so we're going to draw that line there, connecting into the line below, blending in, and we're going to come up here and see if we can blend into this line a little bit better. Sometimes this is tricky. And there we go. And once again, we're going to just soften that curve so that we don't get that pointy look right there, because that is never a good plan. So we're going to use these softer curves in here. And once you make this adjustment, you might actually find that you need to do it a little bit differently, that you have to ease it a little further down or a little less tightly in the waist. And we also find, as I mentioned before, that when you are making the waist tighter, you sometimes then have to release the hips a little bit. That is one of those things, and that is not a perfect line. So let's find a better line here. Maybe we'll draw it in a different color so we can see what we're doing. How about magenta? Don't have any of that on here. So we are blending ourselves in here and coming down. And then once you have made the change, and you can just sew this seam adjustment into your dress, tunic mock-up, and see how you like it, which would be my next step if I was working on this for myself or for a client or a friend. And I will come here, and then we'll also make the change as we pinned it on the mock-up here on the front, so that we are getting ourselves a complete line that's going to alter the waistline for a nice trim little fit in the waistline. If you chose, instead of doing this adjustment, or in addition to doing this adjustment, you could also plot some darts here along the grain line or wherever you need them. And I'm going to move this just a smidge so you can see that you could also take in the waist a little bit right here in the center back. This is the center back seam. That does make putting a zipper in a little bit more difficult, but it's not impossible. And if that is an adjustment you need, because you have a teeny weeny little waist, or you want to feature your waist, which if you have one, you should do, then that is another way to get a little bit more out as you move through the process of shaping up, finessing the pattern so it fits you perfectly. Thank you for joining me as we looked at tapering the waist on the mock-up of the Carpe Diem dress to get the fit that you prefer. Some people like a more fitted and tailored look, and that is as it should be, and you are welcome to create that. Just making sure that you're keeping your gray lines straight, your seam lines straight, perpendicular to the floor, and your horizontal balance lines parallel to the floor. That is what we're always looking for, to have a balanced dress or tunic with your nuanced version of the Carpe Diem dress. So good luck and enjoy making different variations of this fabulous pattern over and over again.